Hey guys, me Seren, back with another car video. This is probably going to be really quick. I just wanted to make a video about Milo and this whole Milo situation, because I find it to be really interesting that he got dropped. So Milo Yiannopoulos, I think that's how you pronounce it, Milo Yiannopoulos. He used to be the main writer for Breitbart, which started out as this conservative blog before growing into this full-blown right-wing alternate reality, alt facts website that was headed by Steve Bannon, who we all know is now pretty much President Bannon. So Milo was their star writer, he really drove a lot of clicks to that site, and he really pioneered a lot of what we see now in terms of this just really salacious fucking fake news. And he got a book deal last year, 2016. He got a book deal with, I want to say, Simon & Schuster. They paid him $250,000 in advance, right? $250,000 in advance to write this book. And Milo he's a fucking hate monger. He's a racist, and he's a white supremacist, and he's a hate monger. And he's also one of those people. He's openly gay. And he's also one of these fucking white gays that's oh, I'm gay, so I can't be racist. I can't oppress other people because I know what it's like to be oppressed. And I've said this before on this channel, and I really believe this, that a lot of the time, I feel like white gay males, a lot of the times, are some of the most hateful people, because it's their sexuality deprived them of the full spectrum of their white male privilege, right? It's I'm white, I'm male, I'm supposed to be at the top of the food chain, I'm conservative because he's a conservative, I'm conservative, I have these conservative values, but I'm a fucking racist, but because I'm gay, because of my sexuality, that knocks me down from my rightful fucking position as master of all that I fucking see, right? So a lot of the times I find that white gay men are some of the most racist and the most fucking hateful, because they're pissed, because they're angry that their sexuality knocked them off that top spot, So he is a prime example of this. And he has been known for just again, being a fucking hate monger. He hates women. He's a misogynist. He's a racist. He fucking was a huge part of, the whole attack that happened to Leslie Jones on Twitter. He's also one of these fucking white racists that has this huge following that likes to fucking sick his followers on people and then say, oh, well, it's not my fault, it's not my responsibility. It's not my responsibility if I fucking incited, if I incited them to fucking go torment this woman and pummel her with fucking racist, sexist, misogynistic, images of lynching victims and dead bodies and slaves and, rape victims, and her face superimposed on monkeys and gorillas. That's not my fault, even though I'm the one that fucking, led this campaign against this woman. And that's what got him banned from Twitter. He got banned from Twitter for that, because Leslie Jones publicly said, I'm getting, these targeted waves of harassment, which is the MO of what these people do. They fucking target people, and then they just send waves and waves of harassers to their Twitter accounts, to their YouTube channels. That's what they, to try to fuck with you and to try to get you to shut the fuck up and be silenced and go away. And Leslie Jones, made a big thing about it on Twitter, and Milo got banned. And so after Milo got banned, he became this like champion of like free speech. Like, oh, my free speech, as Cat Black would say, my free speeches, my free speeches, my free speech, you're fucking violating my free speech. You know, like, number one, fucking free speech means that the government, a lot of people don't seem to know this, free speech means that the government cannot prosecute you for the things that you say, okay? The government cannot lock you up and put you in jail for something you said on Twitter unless, again, you are fucking, you know, saying you're making threats, you know, death threats against people, you're breaking some type of law. No, they cannot fucking throw you in jail for fucking photoshopping, you know, Leslie Jones's face on fucking Harambe or something like that. The government cannot throw you in jail for that. However, free speech does not mean like freedom from consequences from the general public. It does not mean freedom of consequences from privately owned corporations like Twitter or Simon & Schuster, which, getting to the point of this video, old videos of Milo talking about age of consent laws resurfaced. Now, these are not new comments. This is information that's been out there for a long time, but recently this footage resurfaced of Milo kind of like tongue-in-cheek criticizing age of consent laws and basically advocating for pedophilia. Like, the consensus is that this content is basically advocating for pedophilia. And he got dropped from his book deal for that. And a lot of people are still trying to say, like, oh, this is infringing on his freedom of speech. Like, he should be able to say whatever he wants. And, you know, some author was on Twitter talking about if Milo could get dropped, you know, from his book deal for saying unfavorable things in an interview, so could I, and so could anyone. And people were like, yes, Simon & Schuster is a privately owned fucking company. Like, freedom of speech is about the government. It is about receiving some type of federal persecution for fucking things that you say. It is not supposed to protect you from privately owned corporations and companies giving you consequences for your fucking actions. And it's just so funny because, like, and I said this on Twitter, I was like, you know, a couple of things. Number one, my freedom of speech crew is really my white entitlement crew. You are not entitled to a $250,000 book deal. You are not entitled to walk around saying and doing whatever you want. These people feel like they're entitled to book deals, and they feel like they're entitled to walk around saying and doing whatever they want because they're white and they have white privilege, you know, and they have this white entitlement of, I can just say and do whatever I want with no consequences. And what do you mean there's going to be consequences from these privately owned corporations that can set their own code of conduct, and that if I want to do business with them, because I'm pretty sure Milo had to sign a fucking contract before he got that money, and I'm sure there was some type of, you know, defamation clause in there. There, you know, we just like when you fucking join Twitter, when you join Facebook, when you join Instagram, when you join, you know, these private companies, you have to fucking check a little box that, you know, you agree to the terms of agreement. And nobody ever really reads the terms of agreement, but most terms of agreement say things like, you can't incite violence, you can't incite hate speech, you can't harass people, you can't target them, you can't abuse them, you know, you cannot defame people's character, you know, you cannot, you know, all those things are in all these clauses and on all these contracts. And if you fucking do those things, the government can't fucking lock you up because, yes, you do have freedom of speech, but a private company can feel free to drop your ass because you're in violation of that contract that you agreed to, right? That is the way that freedom of speech actually fucking works. Like, again, people seem to be fucking confused about it because they have this white privilege and they have this white entitlement. Like, a book deal is a privilege. You're not entitled to a book deal. And if you say things that they feel fucking could defame the character of their company, they have the right to drop you because I know you signed a motherfucking contract. So I wanted to get that out of the way. But I also wanted to say that the first thing I thought of when I heard about this whole story of Milo, you know, getting dropped or whatever, was what I was talking about in my fucking racist cracker Barbie video, which was that, you know, people were talking about when Trevor Noah had her on his show and people criticized that. He was like, you know, I don't understand what's the big deal. You know, she already has a platform. He didn't understand the fact that having her on his platform on Comedy Central is not the same as having her on, you know, some bullshit Facebook show or on YouTube. You know, like, you're giving her legitimacy by having her on your reputable cable Comedy Central show, you know, on your platform. And this whole Milo situation reminded me of that, because I said in that video, when you have these racists on your platform and you give them this legitimacy, you send the message, there's an implicit message that racism is okay, that racism is acceptable. And this Milo shit proves my fucking point. This is a perfect example of racism being okay, because here's somebody that is a known racist. Here's somebody that is a known white supremacist. Here's somebody that is a known misogynist. Here's somebody that is, you know, that hates women, that fucking 6 millions of people on women, on black people, on black women on Twitter, you know, but he got this $250,000 book deal because racism, sexism, misogyny, all these things are seen as acceptable, right? Again, what I said in my racist cracker Barbie video, all this shit is seen as acceptable. But as soon as, you know, this footage of him talking about, you know, age of consent and, you know, basically advocating pedophilia came out, he got dropped because now he has crossed a line, right? Just again, like I said in that video, I said you wouldn't have a climate change denier on your show, but who knows, you know, that could be the next step in this post fucking orange Cheeto world. But, you know, you wouldn't have a climate change denier on your show. You wouldn't have a pedophile on your publishing house roster, but you would have a racist, but you would have a sexist, but you would have a misogynist, because all of those things are seen as acceptable. Those are seen as acceptable opinions, right? Oh, it's just an opinion. It's just a matter of opinion, and we're just having a spirited debate, you know? Those are not seen as points of contention that would bar you from being on a television show, or that would bar you from getting a $250,000 book deal, because racism is acceptable. It's fine. Ooh, it's a little tongue-in-cheek taboo subject, and we're gonna have you on our show and we're gonna have all these ratings, but it is not unacceptable to the point of pedophilia where we have to drop you and we have to cut all ties with you because this is just completely unacceptable behavior. And Milo, Mr. My Free Speech, apologized. He said, you know, I'm sorry if, now it was a little whatever, fake fucking apology, but, you know, something like, I'm sorry if, you know, something I said jokingly was taken out of context. You know, I said that stuff a long time ago, and, you know, it was that kind of I'm sorry you're offended type of apology, but it was something of an apology. He did not say, well, my free speech entitles me to say that if I want to fuck little boys, it's fine. No, he apologized in his own way, because that is not seen as acceptable. Has he apologized to Leslie Jones? No. Has he apologized to any of the scores of black women and black people and women, you know, of all fucking races that he has fucking antagonized on Twitter, through Breitbart, on his website, you know? No. Because all that stuff is seen as, I don't know what just happened. And that's what we mean when we say we need to get to a point where racism is seen as something that is completely unacceptable, where racism is seen as something that is completely taboo. It is not something that is okay. What are we doing? The light's green. Come on. It is not seen as something that is okay. It is not seen as something that is acceptable. You know, it is not seen as something that is a matter of opinion, is a matter of debate. You know, like age of consent laws, having sex with fucking little kids is not seen as an opinion. It is not seen as something we can debate over. It is not seen as, you know, oh, well, we just have differences of opinion. You feel this way, I feel that way. You know, having sex with fucking animals and dogs and shit like that, that is not seen as a point of contention. Trevor Noah would not have somebody that was into motherfucking bestiality on his show. But having, again, a racist cracker Barbie on your fucking show, giving a fucking Milo Yiannopoulos, or however you pronounce it, a $250,000 book deal, sends the message that that racism is acceptable, because in our country, in our fucking white supremacist society, racism, and especially anti-black racism, and especially misogynoir against black women, and especially sexism, all this shit is acceptable. These are acceptable opinions, you know? We need to make this shit taboo. No, it's not cool. Like, don't have these people on your show. Don't have them on your TV show, your radio show. Stop giving them book deals. Like, stop entertaining this shit, because every time you entertain it, again, you legitimize it, and you contribute to the notion that it's acceptable and that it's fine, which is why I don't fucking debate. People all the time are like, oh, debate with this racist white supremacist. No, I'm not giving any fucking legitimacy or credibility to any of these people's ideas, just like I would not fucking debate over whether or not you should be able to have sex with a fucking 6-year-old. Like, I'm not going to do it. Like, it is not acceptable. It's not okay. It's not an opinion, and it's not up for debate. And it's just really interesting to see that this is what they deemed unacceptable, to the point where they dropped him. But they offered him the fucking book deal knowing full well that he was a racist, and him being a racist was fine, right? So those are just some observations that I had about this whole Milo situation that I wanted to talk about real quick. We are almost to the end of February, so yet again, like I've been saying, we're almost at the end of Hidden Figures. So thank you guys so much for watching the Hidden Figure series and making such great suggestions, and also watching these car videos. I know you guys really like these. I'm definitely going to get a dash mount, so that even after we kind of get back to regular posting, I can still do car videos for you guys. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. There will be some links in the description box. Food for thought as always. See you guys next time. Peace.